So yeah, I did ended up cutting my own hair for the simple fact of stressing out. And come to find out, if you look it up, I've always felt this way. I've always felt good after a haircut, not because it makes me look good and great and younger and all that stuff. For the simple fact of by the time I cut my hair or let my hair grow out, it's a lot of stress had been built up and all the other stuff that's been going on. And it seems like when I get a haircut, it relieves a bunch of the stress that's been stored up and that's been going on, depending on how long I've gone. Because I go longer than 2 weeks a lot of the time before I get a haircut. And come to find out, if you look it up, the scientific fact is that your hair stores a lot of cortisol or a lot of stressors that's going on,
Yeah,
and
your hair
it
shows
gives
a
a
lot of stuff.
better, yeah, your hair gives a better stress, gives a better it gives a better sign of what chronic stress has been going on with you for like the longest period of time, better than your blood and saliva does, from what scientists say. So yeah, so there is some truth behind when, hey, every time I get a haircut, I feel great. I feel like a bunch of stress has been relieved off my shoulders and stuff like that. So yeah, dude, 110%. It's, as you already know, where I'm at and the location I've been in, there's been a lot of stressful things going on for the last 2 months or so, or yeah, pretty much the last 2 months and some change. So getting a haircut or just cutting it down myself, it relieves a lot of things off my shoulders, and it's almost a restart or a rebuild for whenever it grows back up. And plus, I needed to start taking better care of it anyway. What better than what I was doing the last couple months?
You know what I'm saying? Trying to get them 360 though.
I don't know that. I don't know about all that. I was never really into the whole doing 360 thing, and I'm not saying it's against anybody that does it.
I'm
I
trying.
don't think I have the patience to sit there and brush my hair all day. You
So I'd
know,
be like, little bro, T, you know, be the
yeah.
one and say, if y'all don't know,
On your downfall until one day it was just watch you on your downfall. Like, and those been some of the best. They will support you. They will pretend to support you. It's about what you believe in this moment, because this is about you. This isn't.
got my man Big Grump on the other end, and your boy Stay Grump over
keep your
here.
head on a swivel, and let's just some responses to
Have a good
car
time.
reaction. It's incumbent.
Post a little something up in here. I could get a good laugh. So
Yeah. So
Uh,
what we talking about today is what movie or movies play into your life, or you believe what your life is based off of. You can go ahead and let's kick this off there. Stump the Grump.
radio. My life is based off radio. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
If I had to say a couple movies that were based, and it's crazy, it's funny, this morning I woke up, I was looking on Instagram and it was like birth dates that align with like who you are, like the days whatever days you're born on, right? So like the first, the second, the third, whatever those days, it tells you what your qualities are as a person on the days you were born, right? So like I'm February 1st. So it says natural born leader, all these other things, all these, and like ironically, this like the first movie that popped in my head when you shot this over to me was like Remember the Titans. That was like an iconic role play. Basically, because the majority of my life I did grow up playing football, and like that leadership concept of like where I grew up at in AJ, it felt like at times it was trying to integrate. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to navigate through that, as I think at times I was looked at as one of the ones, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't know how to navigate through that as well as I should. And long story short, at a time where I should have stood up and been that guy, I I didn't have it in me. I wasn't surrounded at that time when, so I was basically supposed to be, everybody looked at me. I was a guy, like I'd been around the football program the longest. I was going to every summer fucking football training program. And all that. Come my senior year playing football, I don't know, like I was looked at as to be the captain. And at that time, I think because of the mentorship I had around me, I didn't have it in me to want to be that captain. When the whole team wanted me to, I didn't have it, and I secluded myself. And everybody's like, even my coach at the time, which I can 100% say at that time I disagreed with, but I didn't like him as a person. I just didn't. It wasn't there. There wasn't enough in me for me to trust him. And I thought about this a lot, but there wasn't enough in me for me to trust him, for me to be a leader for the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just made me recluse. And I remember the night they were like voting for captains and shit. Dude. Like he came over and what the fuck? Like you're I was like, dude, like, and just I think by the way he was talking to me and how I was receiving it, it didn't work for me. Like nothing you did. And the sad part is the person that I probably would have did that for was the coach that left the year prior to me being a senior, Coach Neal, which is probably one of my better coaches I had. And when he left, like everything changed. The whole football program, everything changed. So like my demeanor towards football at the high school at the time was just different. It was. And even like I talk about it with some of my homies who I played ball with. He's like, yeah, but it was different, so, and it wasn't that, how do I put it? It wasn't that I didn't believe in the program. I didn't believe in the person I was running.
That's fair. That's understandable.
And that's why I think about Remember the Titans. I think about all that, during those trials and tribulations they're running through is trying to make it to the team and make everybody better. Like I did at one point in time felt like that could have been a thing. And then when the head coach leadership changed, it was like, nah, it was different. And I'm not trying to, that was over 20 years ago. So I'm not trying to dwell on that. But I did say this. I did learn a lot too from that. Because that whole season we went, and we lost everything. We lost every fucking game. I don't even think we won one game. One game.
Goodness.
But imagine that your senior year, you lose every game. I'm not saying like, so it's like, I've already been through a lot of losses in life at an early age.
That's where it started. That's where it started, folks.
You know what I'm saying? So, it built something in me, like once I left age, I kind of never looked back. And I'm not one of the people that like wanted to stay in my hometown and be the hometown hero. And I 100% disliked the, that's where I was at. So I'm not going to speak bad and say, but it wasn't very friendly towards us all the time. And I've seen my mom fight through a lot of battles and stuff. And I had to fight through a lot of battles and help my brother fight through some things when we moved out there. But it built a character in me. I'm not going to say characters. It built some characteristics in me that helped me like persevere through life, right? And just learn how to deal with things in a time of pressure. And then another movie that resonates with me, Lucy, Mason, because it's very thought-provoking and makes you think outside the box when it comes to life and the spectrum. I've always been a fan of stuff like that. But those are the two main movies I kind of like for like leadership and who I am. Remember the Titans. For my thought-provoking and having different ideas, Lucy. I mean, there's a couple other movies too, but those are the two main that I always would kind of relate back to when it comes to dealing with who I am and how I am in life. If I had to go to like a cartoon basis, The Jungle Book, 100%. I love Baloo the Bear. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when it comes to like my character,
I've been lost in the jungle.
So when it comes to like my character, like I don't give a fuck. Like I just gonna live life like Baloo the Bear, spirit animal. You know what I'm saying? Like that's so. And then, like I said, there's a couple other movies, but those like Remember the Titans, Lucy, and then character traits is like just live life, Blue Jungle Book. So, but I think the entry point would be like, and now with AI, I'm gonna try it because I thought about doing this. They have a program where you could like type your life in and it'll make like a mini movie of your life. Like so you could like summarize your life and it'll make a mini movie. And I was thinking about trying it. So that I think that'll be quite interesting. Like having those titles incorporate to who I am and like, you know, see how it plays out. But I'm pretty sure that like it'd be quite interesting to see like have like a mini documentary on my shelf and the things that I've seen. But if I had and then okay, if I had a choice too of like my humor for movie, like Half Baked. You know what I'm saying? Half Baked, primo. So, but yeah, what about you, man? What movies you would per se pertain to your life?
Well, mine is not that deep at the same time. Let's just say from the beginning of life until before I joined, it would be Soul Food and Tyler Perry's Family Reunion, which both of those movies, if you look at the seriousness and the comedy in between the both of them, it's almost the stereotypical family when it comes down to, having Sunday dinners at Big Mama's house, the family having secrets and secrets coming out at the, family gatherings, not just, Sunday dinners coming out during Christmas and Thanksgiving. And next thing you know, you got auntie and uncle. Well, you always want to bring that up when we get around each other because you never want to answer your phone when I call, right? We
Yeah.
try to talk about this peacefully, but then then you're doing crazy stuff. That was pretty much my life on both sides of the family, all up until my grandmother's great grandmother's grandfathers, great grandfathers died. It was always entertaining to be around family and have these family gatherings. But it is true when the glue starts falling, when the glue starts pretty much losing its adhesive and its stick, and what I mean by that is like the grandparents, when they start slowly disappearing, those Sunday dinners become far and in between. Those family gatherings become far and in between. People start, stop talking to each other that was so close to each other in the beginning. Everybody's lives versus, everybody coming together, no matter how much hate there is, or no matter how much dislike there was, the grandparents pretty much kept everybody together. If you look at it, right?
I mean,
We,
that's a blessing, dude.
yeah, it is. But once they're gone, it's really up to the adults to keep it going. But then also too, when it comes down, it's up to the cousins to keep it going. If the, aunts and uncles can't keep it going because of their differences, but then it's up to the cousins to come to themselves and, trying to put things together. And I see a lot of my cousins do that in my extended family. They try to keep a lot of things together, and they do trips and they put things together. They try to step in where where a lot of our elders, they stood in place, but they're getting up in age and they can't do it anymore. That's where a lot of my cousins, they're stepping in and doing that. But once again, it depends on what side of the family it is. I think about that a lot of the time, especially these last few months of I would have dreams about us having Sunday dinners, or during football season, we're all at one grandparent's house and we're hanging out, watching football, laughing. Even if everybody isn't into the teams that are playing, we're it's just the fact that we're together. It's just the fact that we're hanging out, we're talking. And that was the time a lot of the adults, even though kids were kicked out of the room sometime, and which somehow magically I would always end up in the room or sneaking back in the room and hearing some of the discussions. That's where problems were handled. Hey, look, we need to discuss this. We need to handle this. And you would hear some of like I said, some of the craziest things I've heard over time. I've seen two of my cousins, two of my female cousins. I remember being at my aunt's house, and one of my cousins, because they stayed around the corner from each other, she comes around the corner beating on the door. Hey, get out here. We got to talk about this. Nah, there ain't nothing to talk about. You already know I was talking to him in the first place. And they box it out. And you talking about like they two women off the street didn't even know each other, just fighting over this dude. And I'm sitting there watching like, ooh, I don't. Hey, if you duck I'm just a little kid out here, just you're not dodging them. Your face is taking all the punches. Seeing stuff like that, or one of my older cousins, he taught me how to fight because I always wanted to hang with him, and he seen me more of as an annoyance. His mom, he as an annoying little brother because I think there's maybe 6 years between us, and we talk about it today because I love to go visit him every time I go home, and we talk about it today, and we laugh. But he's part of the reason I know how to fight and wrestle and stuff like that, because every time I would go over to the house, whenever I go to my grandma's house, my aunt stayed around the corner from her. I would go over there. He would always lock the door, look out the window. What do you want? I want to come hang with you. Go away. Come on, let Reg in the house. Stop playing. And he'll sit there and wrestle and teach. That's how I got into wrestling. That's how I got into watching wrestling, because of him. And I was like, one day you're not gonna keep throwing me around and tossing me. But because of him, I was able to defend myself no matter what. And he was like, you were annoying growing up. I didn't want to be bothered with you and stuff like that. But every time I go home, we always hang out, we have a good time. And it's like that. That's what my life is. And and the other thing I talk about, like knowing all the family secrets, knowing where the bodies are buried, that's crazy in itself. That things truly don't come up until somebody's on their deathbed or somebody's long gone, or you know, it's life. A funny movie that I would say, like you said, will be The Truman Show. Will be The Truman Show.
I get that. I can see that for you.
I
can see that for you.
It would be, it would be, it would be literally
I
The
can see
Truman
that.
Show. Because at a certain point in my life, even up till now, some of the craziest things and the arrogance I had growing up is unbelievable. You remember the game Red Rover, send such and such right over? I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
I was arrogant enough to think I could play Red Rover by myself against five other people. And I wasn't the biggest thing either growing up. I was like maybe 80 pounds, if that, for the longest. And I was playing, I remember we stayed in this one house that had a corner lot that had a big front yard. And I was playing outside with some friends and my cousins. And I was like, nah, I got this. Y'all ain't gonna take me. And they was like, Red Rover, send Reggie right over. And I ran the fastest I could run. And you talking about somebody flying in the air and doing a flip face first on the ground. Just cartoon fall, just all this, and boom, I hit the ground. That was probably one of my first, that was probably by that time, there was probably maybe second or third concussion that I probably gotten. The first concussion that I really got it was another house we had stayed in that had a corner lot, but it was a big backyard. And the way the house was shaped, there was no windows that could really see into the backyard. So I would always be climbing on top of the tree. And I remember, I think my mom had called me, and I slipped out the tree and hit the ground. And I just remember waking up with leaves and stuff in my mouth. And it was like, oh, I don't know how long I've been here, but there's a loud ringing noise. But yeah, the Truman the Truman Show would be one of my funny ones. And another funny one that taught me like just because I saw it when I joined the Navy was a thin line between love and hate.
Oh,
A thin
Gills.
line between love and hate.
Man,
Yeah,
that's old, bro. That came out before the Navy.
yeah, yeah. There were
You did that. You didn't see
when
that until you joined the Navy.
no, I seen it like when I was growing up. That was one of my
Oh, okay.
favorite
I was about to say.
movies. I'm talking
Okay.
about like actually real life experiencing it was crazy watching one of the homies go through this because he had told this young lady he loved her and then he was playing around and then next thing you know, she
The
outside the ship. She outside the ship talking about I love you and X, Y, and Z and telling the command all this crazy stuff that he was doing that he wasn't doing. It was crazy to watch, but it was like, man, that's a thin line between love and hate, really. So, but that's life,
Yeah, nah,
and
no.
life
I grew up
imitating
in
art right
Norfolk.
there.
I grew up in Norfolk Navy, so I get it. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Norfolk a little bit different. So
yeah. I heard the stories about Norfolk. Never been stationed out there. Never wanted to be stationed out there. Not saying it's a bad place. It's just what is Norfolk called? The city of or Virginia is called the state of lovers or something like that.
yeah, something like that. Top of the South from what
Uh,
I've seen before. I didn't know there was a top to the South, but anyways.
and
Uh,
that don't even sound right, right? Top of
that
the South. Yeah, sure.
okay, so if we're talking about what Navy movies based off your career wise would you say would be most relatable for you?
Down Periscope and and Battleship.
Well, those are pretty good. Yeah, that's it.
You remember Down Periscope? The craziest submarine movie there is, but it sums up to me in my mind what ship life is like. What people will be seeing on social media majority of the time when they see or capture people doing the crazy things like, oh well, this is our military is so unserious. This day and age, back in the day, they used to, if you talk to people back in the day, they used to do a lot worse things versus somebody running around in their t-shirt over their head yelling, I'm bunkolio. I need TP for my bunghole. Or, somebody doing a Fortnite dance or half the stuff that most of those people did back in the day, if they caught on camera,
Oh yeah, I know. It'd be
I
a
mean,
yeah,
look,
yeah,
it'd be a whole different story, a whole different
yeah. It
discussion.
would. It would. It'd be 100%.
Um, but what people don't understand is a lot of the things that they see on social media is sailors, soldiers, airmen blowing off steam and having fun and making light of a bad situation.
I mean,
Right?
bro,
You don't know what it is. Like let's use something recently that just happened, COVID. They don't understand that most of these ships were only supposed to be out to sea maybe six
3 to 4 months,
months.
but yeah.
And even that, and most of the time they pull in the port. I don't want to say or predict. They pull in the port every so often. But during that COVID tour, guess what? They couldn't pull in the port. They had to stay out to sea a lot longer. And it's like almost being in a house that's just floating and you're seeing the same people every day doing the same stuff every day. Yes, routine is the greatest thing, but it becomes very mundane at the same time, especially if you're pretty much in a house that's in a bubble while everything else is going on in the outside world, especially if you have a family or you got other problems that you're trying to deal with and work through, but you're in this house that's in a bubble that is just out in the middle of the ocean that's floating. And you're only used to seeing these people. Hey, I was only supposed to see y'all for 3 months. and that's your mindset. And then 3 months turns into 6 months, and then 6 months turn into 10 months. And then it's finally, hey, you guys can pull in. And then, no, you can't pull in because this other house that's supposed to be in a bubble as well is not ready because everybody's sick on it.
Yeah,
So,
we actually. Wait, were you there? Was that Dexterous or Gladiator? Who I think it was Dexterous when I was on. We had an officer that was on the first boat that broke the fucking world record, and he was like, he literally he's like, I'm crazy, like I'm crazy because of that. Like I have a very hot temper. Like I was like, I get it, bro. Like people don't understand like what that does to a person's psyche.
yeah,
Imagine waking up a regular civilian and waking up 100 days. Because even some of those cruise ships, when all that stuff was happening, they were stuck out for a little bit.
yeah.
So imagine just waking up for 100 days straight, looking at nothing but ocean, which to
Bro,
the normal
Groundhog Day,
person, yeah, you know what I mean. Like
Groundhog Day.
it can mess you up. So I mean I get it. When you said that, I was like, I get it, bro. Like so he would just like he literally like just do what he had to do and then go home. Like or if he
Yeah.
stood duty, he would do his duties and then go to his stateroom and chill out. Like you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
was like, I get it, bro. Like I'm not here
Like,
to
so,
judge. But so many
yeah,
people are
so
just
the
like, oh,
stuff,
he.
yeah. So the stuff people see, and it's like, oh, well, they shouldn't be acting like that, or they shouldn't be complaining. You don't know what that person has been going through or what they've endured for that time until you can put yourself out there. And that's the thing. That's the other thing that truly annoys me is, yeah, I made the joke about Battleship, right? The movie with Rihanna in it, and they're out there fighting aliens on a ship. That would be the most exciting thing in the world. The part of Battleship that I'm talking about is the stuff that they want, that I forget the actor, Taylor Kish, that's the actor's name, that he went through with his training. That part of it, the part where he went through as an officer, and he was fighting to be the best, and they already had it in their mind that, oh yeah, you're not going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm talking about that part of it. Like, don't get me wrong, we all imagine being out in the middle of the ocean, and it's like, if you've been out in the middle of the ocean in the middle of the night, you've seen things. No matter what anybody says or do or try to deny, you've seen some crazy stuff that you don't ever want to talk about, because guess what? Some people won't believe you unless they're there.
Yeah,
And
no,
the reason why
100%.
I said, and the other part of the reason why I said Battleship was due to the fact of, we've you and I have experienced this, where, yeah, I know they had to get the ship underway even though it was broken. We had to, how many times we had to get the ship underway, broken, and we're like, why are we doing this? But there's a bigger mission, and there, at the time, there was a bigger mission in the movie. If you look past the craziness of the movie and just look at the realism of, hey, they had to get the ship underway for a mission in less than
Yeah,
48 hours. You had to turn around. Knowing you just got back, you think everything's over, and then you turn around and you got to get the ship back underway because you got to go help somebody. You got to go assist somebody, or the other ship broke down. The people that were supposed to replace you, they got called to go do something else, and you got to turn back around and go back out there and stay out there another, you know, couple months or so. Yeah, like,
yeah,
it's movies, and once again, like I said, this is not in every instance of every video that they see of a sailor, airman, or a soldier doing something, but the ones that are just having fun and trying to enjoy their life and make light of situations, because nobody's ever experienced something like this. Nobody's ever experienced military training. Nobody that is currently joining. They've never experienced that military training, even if their family was in the military. And I tell people this all the time. Oh, well, my dad, my mom, X, Y, and Z, they were in the military, this, that, and the third. And this was their experience. Once again, that's their experience. That's not going to be your experience. All right. But once again, movies, to bring it all together, movies imitate life. And when you can compare your life to any movie that you want to, and it's crazy. And the reason why I said the Truman Show for me, because for the most part, I felt invisible at a certain age, and at a certain age in my life, that's why I kind of acted out a lot of the things I did when I was a little kid, because I was the only boy. And so I got three sisters. And the way my parents tried to raise us is like a lot of the things when it came down to it, it was a democracy. And I was always on an island by myself when it came down to voting because my sisters would always side with each other. So it'd be like, oh, hey, let's go do this. Nah, the girls want to go do that. All right, cool. We'll go do what they want to do. But so I would make my own little thing up where I do my thing, you know. Like, don't get me wrong, my dad will pull me aside a lot of the time and he'll take me out and go do things with him, you know, father son stuff.
Yeah.
But when we're doing like big family things, it would always, you know, losing the boat. Until I started
you
getting
win,
older
huh?
and I'm always winning. My sisters love me. There's never been a point where my sisters didn't love me or whatever, but then it got when we got older, when we started getting older in high school and stuff, it would always be they would kind of side with me sometimes, but then it's whatever. But yeah, I would try to live in my own world where, hey, look, when it was just me, and be like, ah, yeah, this is Truman Show, baby. This is the Reggie Show. This is my life. I'm doing this, and boom, 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 all that coolness. But then you know, if you watch the Truman Show, he wanted to be around people, wanted authentic interactions. And that's the part where I grew up when I got into the Navy. That part of it, having authentic interactions, meeting different people from different walks of life and learning things about people, it was always fun. And it still is to this day. It's still fun meeting new people, having friends who are in different parts of the world and from different walks of life and different cultures that at the time I only got to see on TV. But being in it'll be 20 years in June. 20 years in June, I got to be in so many different countries, learned and listened to so many different languages. And my movie in my life, whenever, you know, 400 years down the road, and I'm laying on my deathbed, and you know that
Man,
last
400
breath in
years
your
now?
whole
Yeah.
life, and that final reel of my life before I let go is playing. I can say I enjoyed it. I can say I enjoyed it, and you know it will be interesting. It will be interesting. It'll be like I don't even know what the title of my movie would be other than the Reggie Show, the life experiences, and the
I know what
lessons.
mine. I know what mine would be.
What would you title your movie?
Outcast.
Okay,
100%.
all right. Yep.
Outcast. 100%. I know it.
Yeah.
That's what it'd
Yep.
be. The life of an
Okay.
outcast.
The life of an outcast is crazy.
I mean,
The life
I'm just
of an
saying.
outcast.
I'm just saying that's how I've always felt, and then that's why certain things when I relate to it, like here's the thing, to end on a solid note, right? Realistically, your life is a movie, and like you said, you're gonna have that final reel when you do, transcend to the other realm. So, but you can always change the script, and if life is not going one direction that you don't like, you can always sit down, readjust, reset, refocus, and change your script and make your movie relate to another movie that you like or you relate to or whatever that looks like for you. Just never sell yourself to one singular plan in the sense of if you got to change your plan, stick to it. But if life is not going in the direction that you want and you want a different movie scene at the end, you can change that. It's just up to you and how you want to take it and where you want to go.
Yeah. That reminds me of a Matt Damon movie. I forget the name of it. Let me find it.
I say
Because
majority of my
it talks about straight the Adjustment Bureau. The
Oh
Adjustment
yeah,
Bureau is a movie that talks about fate, and Matt Damon his character didn't want to deal with that fate. He didn't want that. He didn't like that fate that was plotted to him. No matter how much life tried to drag him down that line, this is what's typically going to happen. No matter if you change it, no matter if you do this, and he didn't want that. And as Stump the Grump said over there, if you don't like the fate that you're going, keep doing the things to change it, to make your life better, to make the lives around you with others better. I always do that. There's no stuck script until the film ends, right? Until the film is put on the reel, and there you go, and you're playing it in front of others. Are you going to be happy with it? There are so many movies that have rewrites, edits, and cuts, right? I always think about that. Don't stick to one line. Don't stick to one path. There are multiple paths to get to where you want to go. If you feel like that is the only path that you can take, then you're wrong. Always remember this. What you think is the right path isn't always the right path. The easiest path is not always the best path. The hardest path isn't always the best path. The most indifferent path isn't always the best path. Whatever path gets you to the goal that you want is the best path. No matter how hard, no matter how easy, no matter how different. You make your fate. Yes, there are some singular nexus points in life that will happen that will give you character development along the way, but that's what it is. It's character development. It's there to make you a better person. It's there to make you a stronger person. It's not there for you to quit. And with that, that's the end of this movie. Cut.
Smooth seas never made for a skilled sailor.